Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, we're going on a tour of Paradise Ranch.
I feel blessed to work with these animals. I have a connection to them.
It's a pet that can add some tranquility to your life.
Fish make excellent pets.
And getting your own aquarium started is easier than you may think. And this week's Animal Encounter introduces us to a freshwater crocodile. That's one of the most endangered crocs found in the wild.
We're hoping to keep these guys from becoming history.
This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Hello and welcome to Animal Outtakes. I'm Marcia Panucci, and this is my best friend, Zeus. Picture this, a place where you can lay out in the warm sun, play tag with your friends, and even take a dip in a pond and catch a fish or two. Sounds like paradise, right? Well, it is if you're a big bear. In fact, there is such a place, and it's called Paradise. Monica, it's so good to be here with you and to be in this little gem that you just kind of find going down Route 675 in Mayaca City, and then here you are. But you've been here for quite a while, and your history goes back even further.
That's true, Marcia. Actually, we've been here 17 years. Although my husband and I, we started to invite people here by reservation so they could come and learn about bears and see our beautiful bears and in a natural habitat.
Now, your history of the Weldy Bears actually goes back to the early 1920s.
Yes.
And they ended up in Hollywood.
That's right. My husband's grandfather, Johnny Johnson Weldy, actually pronounced Velda in Norway, came from Norway with his bears, and he came over in 1946 with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. So he had a trained bear act on the circus for a couple of years, for 47 and 48 seasons, and then he went into Hollywood and did movies for Walt Disney.
Well, I think we should go see some.
Let's go.
Okay. Monica, we are just amazed by these wonderful creatures, and they're so cuddly.
Well, they are a bear,
Yeah.
and everybody loves bears. I'm sure everybody associates a bear with their childhood, because one of the first toys a child has is a teddy bear. So they grew up loving these animals, and people love to learn about them.
You know, we see your son, Johnny, is in there, and the amazing thing is the male bear is
Bruno.
Bruno can't get enough of him. He's kissing and holding him and so on. And we know that positive reinforcement works, but what do you do special? Is it the love that you give them that they're reacting to?
It's the relationship we build with them. They have to trust us, Marcia. They're going to live with us their entire lives. We want to have that one-on-one relationship with each of our bears. It's very important. You know what? That's the greatest form of enrichment with our animals, is the relationship we share with them. They thrive on the daily physical contact, the loving, the petting, the communication. Think about your pets at home. They love attention, don't they?
Absolutely.
And they want to be loved. Well, so do our bears. They are so intelligent. They know we love them. They also know if people fear them, but they can give that love in return. It's all how you raise them, treat them.
Now, your husband and you worked side by side for so many years, but now you've got Johnny in there.
Fourth generation.
Okay, now when did he start? When he was a young one, or when he could really understand the importance of what you were doing?
Well, actually, we started to introduce our bears to little Johnny, when he was 3 years old, as well as my husband. He worked with the bears when he was 3. So we kind of brought that next generation into it at the same age.
So much has been said about the training of animals, but I think we would all agree with what we're seeing here. Animals have memories.
Definitely.
And if you hurt them, or you torture them, or you tease them in a bad way, I just don't see how they could react this way.
Well, look at a bear. Common sense tells you they're capable of harming you. They have teeth and claws. They're such a powerful animal. I don't think I would want to harm an animal like that because I wouldn't be standing here.
That's right.
These animals are so powerful. We love our bears. We want them to be happy and content. It's all how you treat them and raise them. It's very important to have that relationship because they're part of our family. We don't forget this is a bear first.
Yes.
And we never forget it. And
That's
we
right.
respect them for what they are.
But it's hard to believe, Monica, that these are wild animals when we're seeing this wonderful kissing and so on. And how do you make him kiss? Is it positive reinforcement with treats, or does he just do something natural and you just get very excited and he continues to do it?
Well, you know how dogs
That's
lick
how
us?
we do it, yes.
Well, actually, the bears do that too. So, you know, it's just brought on. It's brought out in them. You know, they'll do it naturally. But then we'll teach them to do it on cue, of course.
Sure.
But they do this naturally. This is their way of showing affection.
It's encouraged when,
Yes, encouraged.
when it's very, very positive.
Yes.
And even with dogs, you know, we get very excited. We start to clap when they do something really, really wonderful. But when you look at this, I mean, this is breathtaking. This is a wild animal who has come to trust a human being. And boy, there is nothing more important than that. Nothing.
Pure love.
Coming up a little later in the show, more on Paradise Ranch and the 14 bears that call it home. How each of them are completely different, from their personalities to some unique capabilities. We'll learn more about all that a little later. Having a freshwater fish tank? Well, it's easier than you may think. And the colors and the unique species of fish you can put in your tropical fish tank is filled to the brim. Danny, do fish make good pets?
Fish make excellent pets. And I love all animals, but fish are animals also. And they cover such a wide gamut of lifestyles, whether you want a small aquarium at home, a small beta aquarium on your desk at work, or an aquarium for your children to learn about life and nature. They are excellent pets.
Those of us who are responsible pet owners are used to going to the veterinarian. Is a veterinarian required for fish and the longevity and the health of the fish?
In a public aquarium setting, absolutely. 20 years ago, you would never even think in terms of an aquatic veterinarian, but it's becoming more and more common because of the importance of the oceans and the environment to the human component. But for the owner of an aquarium at home, like you or me that has a fish tank, you shouldn't, that shouldn't become necessary. With the proper care and maintenance of the tank.
And what do we do in the way of food? We know that food nowadays is jam-packed with vitamins and enzymes and probiotics and all that. Is that necessary, or do you just buy that little canister of food and just shake it on like I did when I was a child?
The fish foods that were available when we were children have completely changed over the years. That doesn't mean that you need to have a PhD in nutrition to feed your fish a balanced diet. Just make sure your fish food comes from a reputable source, so it's fresh, that they're not stockpiling it somewhere for years, and vary their diet. Same as for that we would enjoy. You give them a little bit different so that vitamins that may be missed in one food can be picked up in another food. From the reputable manufacturers, the flake foods are totally balanced and all your fish will really ever need. But then there's frozen foods. Some people that totally love their pets come in and buy live food from me once a week just as a treat for their animals.
Is the idea for the longevity and the health of these fish, let's fill it up? Or should we be very careful about how we introduce fish, how many should go in to a cubic aquarium measurement? What should we do? Because we want our fish to be healthy.
If you purchase your fish from a reliable source, they should be selling you fish that fit the bill for a home aquarium. They shouldn't be selling you, all fish start out small. And that doesn't mean that they will stay small, but it's incumbent upon me to sell you fish according to the fish that you have in your aquarium. So if you share with me what you have in your aquarium, then I know which fish can go in an aquarium like that. Some people want big fish, and we usually don't sell the big fish. They have to grow them up on their own, but we certainly wouldn't give someone a 1-inch fish that becomes a foot long in a year to go with a 1-inch fish that becomes 1 inch in a year.
So in other words, you're telling us, please do our research before we do something like this. Come to a reputable person who can give us the advice that we need, and then pick the most beautiful fish that you want to look at.
Absolutely.
Did you know the whale shark is the largest fish in the world? They can get to be more than 40 feet long. That's basically the size of a school bus. You've likely heard of a Siamese cat. But what about a Siamese crocodile? We'll tell you more about this critically endangered species next. Many active duty servicemen and women face a dilemma as they prepare for deployment. Who will look after their canine companion until they return? Dante's Den provides temporary boarding for their dogs as they serve. We honor the trust placed in us by members of the armed forces by giving their furry friends loving care, spacious dens, on-site veterinary care, and plenty of room to run and play. For more information, go to dantesden.org or call 844-DANTES-DEN. Well, this is Mr. Barrett.
That's Barrett.
He's winking, but then he's taking a little snooze, and he's breathing. Very relaxing, very nice. Tell us about this little guy.
Well, Barrett's a Siamese crocodile, and like the other crocs that you're going to see today, he was hatched at our facility, part of a conservation breeding program. He's a Siamese crocodile, and they were thought to be extinct in the 1970s.
And what makes him a Siamese?
You noticed the earrings? Never mind.
No, but I see a lot of,
The first animals were found in what was Siam, now we call it Thailand.
I see.
And they used to range throughout most of Southeast Asia. Now they have tiny, tiny range. Oh, he talks.
He talks
all the time.
Well,
He does
Mr.
not-
Barrett,
he
what
does
are you
not shut
telling
up.
us? What are you telling us, huh? Yes?
He's giving you hints about how this should be done, and you better listen.
Oh, I better listen. So you're the director now, right? Yes?
Then don't you forget it. These guys were brought literally to the brink of extinction. There were a few found in Cambodia, and then a few more found in Laos, and then 11 of them were found up in North Vietnam. And we're trying to work from that breeding stock to start to bring these animals back.
But that's not much.
No, most of the animals in
I agree.
captivity in the United States are related to each other. So that, of course, is another challenge. Come here, Barrett. Yeah, you're fine. And that, what you're seeing, is not him wanting to bite me. That's threat behavior. That's very different. He opens his mouth, tries to be bigger than he is, and then when he realizes all is well with the world, then he'll close his mouth again. We produced 2 hatchings of these guys in the last 2 years, and we are looking at trying to repatriate some of them over to Southeast Asia so they get some new bloodlines. We have some of the only animals, I think, that are unrelated in the United States.
He's predominantly green and his eyes are green.
Yeah, he's sort of,
black, he matches.
Yep, little Halloween color here.
Absolutely.
But we're hoping to keep these guys from becoming history. And you know, when you're dealing with as few animals as there are, would you like to just think about something for a moment? Go to downtown Tampa and look at 1 block worth of buildings in downtown Tampa. Give me the value of that city block, and I could save every species of crocodile.
Wow.
1 block. Just donate 1 block. Does that tell you how much we have done as far as gobbling up resources on the planet and not sharing it with the animals that have been there a lot longer than we have?
They sure have. He was first, and we came second, but you sure are cute. A gator isn't just a gator. Did you know there are more than 20 different kinds of crocodilians in the world? They've been on this planet for more than 80 million years, and they are most closely related to birds. Coming up next, we're back in paradise. It's rare to see a bear up close, and it's even more unique to see them interacting with humans. This is what sets Paradise Ranch apart from your typical zoo. Here, visitors get a front row seat to watch and learn about bears. And the owners of Paradise Ranch say visitors walk away with an appreciation and a desire to help.
He bites the end off.
I wouldn't eat that
The little,
either.
you know, the little,
Yeah.
the little root thing.
It's nothing good for you.
So, Monica, what do their diets consist of?
Well, all brown bears are omnivores. That means they consume meat and vegetation. Our bears are mostly vegetarian, although they get their protein from different sources. We do give them sardines occasionally. They eat fruits and vegetables, apples, oranges, carrots, sweet potatoes, corn, watermelon, berries, and nuts. They also eat a very special zoo diet that's made for zoo bears and our bears. It has protein, vitamins, and fish oil. That's why their coats are so gorgeous. And they eat a variety of dog foods. I've had veterinarians and nutritionists approach me from zoos and ask me, your bear's coats are so gorgeous, what is your diet? So I tell them, and they go back and share that diet with their bears in the zoo. Sit up. Bruno, sit up.
No, I think
Up. Good boy. Clap.
Oh, look at Bruno, yay! That's
He
our
loves
boy!
to clap. Yes, good boy.
That's our boy!
Good boy, yes. I feel blessed to work with these animals. I have a connection to them, physical and mental connection. And they, like I said, they thrive on that relationship. I tell people, don't get the wrong impression. Bears in the wild can be dangerous. You know, in the wild, it's hard for them to survive, especially now that they're losing their habitats. And I also tell people never feed a wild bear, of course. But you have to respect them if you go into bear country. There's a lot of things you can do to prepare yourself. But of course, in human care like this, we want that relationship and that bond with our animals. We love them and they know it. They feel it. They love to come out and see the bears in their natural habitat, but also they learn about them because animals depend on humans for their survival. There's a lot of people in the world now, and the wild is shrinking.
Absolutely.
And if we don't have these animals in human care and provide for them and use them as ambassadors for their species, they'll disappear because people need to learn about them up close like this. In zoos or in a private ownership like this, responsible animal professionals that are licensed, and take care of these animals properly. It's important for their survival. Many bears, 6 out of 8 species of bears on our planet are threatened and endangered. Think about the elephant, the rhino. They're all threatened, and they need humans to teach other people about them.
And the beauty part of Paradise Ranch, they're free. They're free to roam. If they want to kick up their heels, they can do that. Of course, right now they are very, very conscious of the food that you're giving them and of our cameras. But look at all this beautiful area that they can play in and still know that they're safe.
Yes, exactly. My bears are free. They're free from starvation and hunger. They're free from disease. They're free from poachers. They're free to be loved and give love. I always tell people, my bears are free.
Paradise Ranch is open to the public by appointment. If you'd like more information, visit them at paradiseranch.com. Stay with us. Ask the Vet is up next. Dr. Glassman, most animals have anal gland problems, and this is not a subject that we really like to talk about, but it's a subject you have to deal with on a daily basis.
Sure.
But it's kind of icky, isn't it?
Yeah, anal glands, well, let's say most pets probably don't have big problems with their anal glands. Anal glands are in normal structure. Here, and this is my drawing. My wife says I missed my calling as an artistic designer, and she said, no, we can't use that. So she found on the internet another cuter
that's
drawing,
much cuter,
okay?
I have to say.
So the anal glands are 2 glands that sit, here's the anus, that black dot, and the anal glands are sort of marble-sized structures that sit at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock in reference to the anus, and they fill with a normal secretion. It's probably mostly a marking gland. It leaves their scent. It sits between, the anal sphincter is actually layers of muscles, internal and external muscles, and the glands sit in between these 2 layers of muscles. So when animals defecate, those muscles squeeze, and you can't see it, there's not on the diagram, but there's 2 little tubes, 2 little ducts that take the secretions from the two marble-sized glands right to the edge of the anus, and there's two little openings that you can't really see, and a couple drops squeeze out every time they defecate because they're squeezing those muscles, and it squeezes, and a few drops express with stool usually, and it leaves their scent. Okay.
Now, when you see a dog scooting around on the floor, that could be an anal gland problem, right?
Itching, irritation of the perineum or that whole anal area. Sure, it could be anal glands. It could be lots of other things. It could be fleas, could be general allergies, pollen dust mold, could be food allergies. But yes, scooting and licking excessively at the anus is a common sign that, oh, this pet is irritated there. And especially sometimes you'll smell this real funky, it's hard to describe, a musky, fishy kind of odor that the anal glands have. The secretion smells that way. So sure, scooting and licking is a potential sign. But anyway, some animals have a very thin, sort of liquidy secretion that comes out easily. Other animals form a more thick, like cheesy, like almost secretion that doesn't come out so easily, and they can fill up, and we call them impacted, or just they're distended and they get irritated, and then those pets often have to have them manually expressed, and the veterinarians often do that. Some people learn to try to do it at home. Groomers try to do it.
Is it painful to the pet to do
Well, it's
that?
certainly irritating, and it can be painful, certainly if they get infected. Once in a while, anal glands will actually get infected, and you don't know it, and one day you see this like open wound by the rectum, and it's the anal gland has actually developed an abscess, and it festered, and it literally ruptured out the infection to the outside, and you've got this big, disgusting, open, bloody hole. And they can heal up pretty well, though, fortunately, but they can get infected. Rarely they can get cancer. And sometimes if there's enough issues, the veterinarians actually even have to surgically remove those glands. So that's a delicate surgery. I would recommend make sure your vet has done them before, because there's lots of muscles and nerves there, and if something goes wrong with surgery, you can have an incontinent pet from muscle or nerve damage. But before you get to surgery, there's other things you can do. Like if I had pets with problems, I would sedate them and try to infuse like a liquid to flush out those glands under anesthesia, and then even put antibiotics in there, teaching the owners how to try to express them at home on a regular basis. So there's lots of issues, but it's a problem for certainly some pets.
But it is a very definite, important subject that we should all know about.
Sure.
And again, always consult your veterinarian. We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. Zeus and I will be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.
Well, that's a bear behind. And they have short tails. People always ask me, do they have a tail? A very short tail.
Yeah, very small.
It's fun to watch them in the pond or yes.
Look at how
They
happy
see
he
the
is.
intelligence and the relationship they have with us, and it sparks an interest in wanting to help these animals in the wild.